Thanks for joining us. So we're going to get started here in a second. Who here has used UCAN before? Okay, cool. And I'd say, have you used it, sort of, show of hands, used it, more than 5 times?
Once for a half marathon.
Once for a half marathon. Okay, how about yourself?
I like tried it like on a practice ride once.
Okay, so a little bit of experience with it. How about you?
None.
None?
None.
Yeah, you said none
I
too.
did it on like a 4-hour run.
Okay.
Couple practice rides.
Couple practice rides, and you, I know you use it regularly. Greg's used it. Okay, so we got a good mix of folks that have played around with it a lot and that haven't, so that's great. And so I'm Varun with UCAN. This is Seth. Seth's our dietitian. So for all you analytical folks in here, you're gonna enjoy the fact that Seth's here tonight. And so really, what we want to do is just sort of go over a few nutrition concepts first of all, and then we'll talk about how UCAN fits into the picture. But I think it's talking about UCAN independent of talking about how things like blood sugar, insulin, and the idea of using fat for fuel, talking about all those concepts, it wouldn't really make sense to talk about UCAN without having that context. So we want to give you a little bit of that. So let's start out actually over there. I think that'll be a good place to start. And I know we're a little bit far away here, but we have a few slides that'll help illustrate a couple points. So the number one idea we're going to talk about, Seth will expound on it, is this whole idea of keeping blood sugar stable and the negative impact of spiking blood sugar, which is what a lot of your typical carbohydrates do, whether we're talking about your sugar-based gels, sports drinks, or even common, runner foods or triathlete foods like bagels, bananas, carbohydrates that we're all prone to eating before a workout. So Seth, I'll let you start off with putting this whole picture into context, what's happening in the body when you consume these types of carbohydrates.
Right, so, everybody here is, anybody here do strength training workouts or fitness workouts too, by the way?
Yeah.
So, UCAN is extremely versatile to start out, but what's going on a lot, and the problem today, our product's called at Lifetime Fitness. There's like thousands of personal trainers who have clients who come in and they'll have just a banana before an hour run. And what happens is they feel good for a little bit and their energy starts to decline. And then usually people play catch up with their bodies. They grab a gel or they grab something to raise them back up. So you're really having highs and lows throughout your exercise. And the biggest problem is that if you fuel before with fast-acting carbs, and those are things that break down very quickly in the body, like bagels, like slices of bread, bananas, they digest so rapidly that all the sugar and the calories into your body so quickly that as soon as you're starting exercise, your body's going, I got all this sugar in my blood, stop burning fat right now, burn the sugar first. So you burn through that sugar, and if you don't have an incoming amount of sugar coming into the body, you're obviously going to decline, and that's why you can feel fatigue, and if you see up there, you can feel tired, and then all of a sudden you get the sugar rush and you go back up, and so all these highs and lows can eventually cause fatigue, especially if you guys are doing Ironman or even like a half marathon, deeper into it, you have to dig really deep if you have basically lost all your reserves. So that's the first concept, is that if you can maintain your blood sugar and prevent those highs and lows, you can keep your body feeling steady and have steady energy.
So I know it's a little bit hard to see those slides back there, but the basic concept is what Seth just talked about. When you have an incoming carbohydrate that enters quickly, blood sugar goes up pretty rapidly, and when blood sugar drops, in addition to fatigue, you may feel hunger, you may sort of feel that brain fog, what in endurance athletes we call the bonk, right? You feel that sort of fuzzy feeling, and there's also a stress response. The body starts to produce certain stress hormones when blood sugar drops and when you have these frequent highs and lows in blood sugar. So the whole idea of becoming a more effective athlete, of having more effective energy, is keeping blood sugar stable. Another huge thing that occurs when blood sugar goes up is that you block access, you block your ability to burn fat to your full potential. And for anybody that's exercising, say the majority of folks are exercising because they have some sort of body composition or fat loss goal in mind. Even if you don't have any type of, if you're one of the lucky ones, you don't have any type of goal to that end in mind, you still can benefit purely from performance and from an energy standpoint by tapping into and burning fat for fuel. So we just want to talk a little bit about this whole idea of burning fat for fuel during exercise and why it is such an effective fuel source. So Seth, I'll let you take the floor on that.
So everybody has unlimited amounts of fat on their bodies. You could be 180 pounds, 5% body fat as a male, and still have over 20,000 calories of fat to use. Yeah, we always think about calories as really what we consume. You know, we're consuming 200 calories per hour if you're a triathlete. We're having a bagel, trying to make sure that you're getting 200 calories before a long run. But the truth is, our best form of calories is actually our internal fat calories. Because if you can break down fat in your body, and there's fat stored in your muscles, and there's fat just stored in your love handles and in your body, and fat is 9 calories per gram. So that breaks down to give you more energy, and more ATP is what basically carbohydrates and fats break down into. So 9 calories per gram, just I'm talking about science here, 9 calories per gram translates to 130 ATPs. 4 calories of a carbohydrate relates to only 42 ATPs. So you get an ATP is just how you measure energy, so you get more energy when you break down fat. And also, since you have an unlimited pool of fat, there's a lot less likelihood of you're going to obviously, not have that fat available for you. So for example, if you tap into and burn all your muscle glycogen, the carbs stored in your body, you're going to bonk. But if you have 20,000 calories of fat, the likelihood of you bonking is basically non-existent. So it's the beauty of burning fat is that you can keep burning fat, yet your body's not going to feel as fatigued. So when you break down and burn stored carbohydrates, your muscle cells deplete and the volume starts to go down, and that's why you can actually feel your muscles aching. Yeah.
So to expound on this a little bit, some of you folks may be familiar with Bob Seabar. He's a nutritionist. He works with Greg. He's out in Colorado. Bob was, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the concepts that he believes in, but Bob's out in Colorado, was the Olympic sports dietitian for the 2008 triathlon team in Beijing. And he's really big on this idea of metabolic efficiency and training your body to utilize fat for fuel, not just rely on the traditional approach to endurance sports, which is carbs, and sugars. So just a short snippet from Bob, further giving some context around what Seth said.
And the main reason why it's so important to burn fat is because the adaptation to endurance exercise especially is that the mitochondria in your muscle cells, they get larger, and you have more enzymes surrounding them to allow your body to burn more fat and spare your glycogen. The whole point is the body wants to burn that huge reserve and spare the glycogen so you don't get that depleted feeling. The problem going on today is that the people that are fueling with sugars, when you have a banana, when you have a bagel, when you have gels, you don't take advantage of this amazing opportunity and this advantage that you're getting from all your training. So you work 4 months out before an Ironman to do all this training, and one of the adaptations metabolically is that you're able to burn more fat. Yet once you do your longer workouts or your training, you start using a lot of sugars, you don't get to take advantage of this. That's why it's so important to actually have access to your fat stores and to limit those sugars.
So we'll hear from Bob on that same topic.
Unlimited fat stores in our body, and we have very, very limited carbohydrate stores. So we have enough carbohydrate stores to probably fuel about 2 to 3 hours worth of moderate intense exercise. On the fat store side of things, we could probably fuel in upwards of 8 to 10 Ironman races, which are anywhere between 10 and 17-hour events. So we've got enough fat stores in our body. The whole concept of metabolic efficiency is teaching the body to use more of the fat stores and actually preserve those carbohydrate stores. So instead of the traditional feed your body carbohydrate, burn carbohydrate, have to refeed carbohydrate every 15 to 20 minutes, what we're seeing with metabolic efficiency is with a small change in an athlete's nutrition plan, with using Generation UCAN at the same time to fuel them, we see an enhanced ability to utilize or to burn fat.
So Bob teased a little bit, and we haven't even really talked about how UCAN fits into this whole picture, but I think one of the things he said that should, if it didn't really stand out, is the idea that you have enough fat stores, if you're putting other things aside like muscle soreness and all that, you have enough fat stores to fuel your body through 8 to 10 Ironmans and enough stored carbohydrates to fuel yourself to 2 to 3 hours of moderate exercise. So right there, if that's such a stark difference that, I think it makes sense from him saying that why you would want to train your body to rely and utilize more fat for fuel.